First up, I'm gonna show you guys how this looks in practice. So here you can see the screen that I just showed as well. It's a fairly standard login screen. You can also enter an email address, and at the end of the day, it's a password as well, or any other credential. This is also based on ORI. And if I click on this button here, I am being redirected to this consent screen. And this is what Vincent also mentioned earlier. This is a fairly standard consent screen, right? So this asks the user, do you actually want to authorize this application, the ACME app that I just came from, to access all of this data? So identity data, this is a standard offline access, this is a standard OpenID Connect scope to allow the application to keep you logged in, and then email address as well. And so this is fairly standard, seen across multiple OIDC providers. So if I click accept here, I'm being redirected back to ACME app, to my third-party application, and I extracted the email address here. And so this is a fairly easy thing to set up and fairly easy thing to integrate and make available to your customers at the end of the day, to your or to third-party applications. This is all the data that you can get. It's even more flexible at the end of the day through webhooks and all of that. But at the very basic level, you can get all of this data. And now I'm going to show you what the configuration for this looks like. This is our console. It allows you to create and manage configuration fairly easily. But mind you, all of this is also available for self-hosting and the ORI enterprise license model. So all of this is available. In this case, it's just a pretty UI on top of it. Matching what Vincent showed earlier with all the different kinds of things that you need to keep in mind with OAuth 2, we make all of that available here. So if you do need any of those sort of add-on RFCs in the future, those are available here too. For example, the use case that Vincent talked about in the beginning was, do you want to skip the consent screen? This is basically for first-party applications only, where you're sure that the user actually has already given your company permission to share this data within your own applications, and so you can configure that. And on top of that, the other thing that you could do is configure the consent screen with logos and policy URLs and all of that stuff. So that's sort of the basic stuff. Now we can get into the meat of the whole thing. Here are the different grant types that Vincent already mentioned. So these are the client credential one from the beginning, the implicit flow, JWT bearer. All of these have very specific use cases, and these are supported. And it's literally just a click here or a configuration change to support them. So if, say, a customer of yours comes to you and says, okay, we really need the JWT bearer flow or grant type, you would just enable it and it's available to you. And then we also support different sort of OAuth 2 flows here. These are mostly the authorization code is the most common one, but there can also be hybrid flows between different ones here. For example, the ID token plus access token in a non-OIDC context sometimes also makes sense to get some user data out of the flow as well. In general, a lot of things can be configured. Nothing has to be configured. The default works fairly well. Another thing that we haven't even touched on yet is the whole topic of logging out things. So if the user logs out of your application, should they also be logged out of the third-party application? All of this stuff is fairly complex and can be very, very complex in the details. So we take this approach of making this available to you. Don't have to use it, but if this is a requirement for you, then all of this is available. So yeah, there are more configuration options as well. So all of this can be configured to a very fine-grained level as well. And again, all of this, so in this case, it's the ORI network and our managed deployment solution. I think we're going to talk about deployment solutions in a bit. But all of this is also available in self-hosted environments as well. There, the configuration is going to be a little bit different, but in overall, all of this is available there too. And we do have sort of a word of caution, because what we've seen is that OAuth 2 and specifically JWTs have been very interesting topic, and a lot of people have sort of started grasping for them as like the first solution on the web. We at ORI, we do solve a lot of these problems in sort of a less complex way in many cases. For example, if you just need sessions, we think that OAuth 2 might not be the right solution. Even if ORI Hydra makes it very easy to configure all of this, at the end of the day, OAuth 2 can be very complex, and debugging issues with where users I don't know, some browser doesn't support redirects in the right way, or there are a lot of different issues that we've faced over the years. All of these can be avoided if OAuth 2 is not a factor at all, and you just rely on session cookies and use those instead of OAuth 2 tokens, and have to deal with where you don't have to deal with refresh tokens or any of that stuff.